Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others aspiring to be them can follow in their footsteps.
Okay, welcome folks to another episode of Latte with a Lawyer. I'm your host, Jonathan Brickman, and this afternoon for me, and still the morning for you, we got Michael Jeandron, and it's his law firm in California, Roberts Jeandron. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Great to be here, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
Good deal. So it's still morning, and I see you got a mug, Latte with a Lawyer. So what's your fuel to get started every day?
So we have a Keurig in our office, and I've got a K-cup, and whatever's on the top of that K-cup, it's like sometimes it says Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, sometimes it says Kirkland. It's kind of like whatever our staff orders. I throw in that Keurig, and it ends up in my cup. And I'm not too much of a coffee snob, so I don't really even notice the difference. Like people are like, "Oh, it's a good cup of coffee." I don't really know. I mean, I can have a bad cup of coffee and still drink it just fine. I don't really drink coffee for the taste. I drink coffee because I need to wake up as I'm exhausted from being a hardworking trial lawyer running a firm with a wife and 3 kids. So coffee is more of a tool to me than like something I enjoy drinking for pleasure.
Excellent. I like that. That you know what? That's a great preamble, and I appreciate that. It's jet fuel. So now, with that, knowing all that, let's talk about your practice. Tell us what you do.
I'm in my 9th year of practice. I'm a trial lawyer. When I was in law school in my 3rd year, I was working as a law clerk at a defense firm. And I was defending on a particular case, a personal injury case. A guy was hit by a semi-truck while riding his bike. And was doing nothing, just riding his bike on the road, and semi-truck hit him. He had a brain injury, even though he was wearing a helmet. It was such a massive brain injury that he was having a hard time relearning the alphabet. Just 26 letters. And my job as a law clerk for this defense firm was to go through 50,000 pages of medical records and to make notes and to pull out doctors' names and nurses' names as potential witnesses. And I really got to know this guy through his records. And I got to know who he was and what his struggle was like. And I reviewed years of records. And I really became a fan of him. And I wanted him to succeed because you could see he was learning, and he was getting about 13 letters of the alphabet a couple years down the road. And I was so proud of him. Never met him, but I wanted this guy to win so badly. I wanted him to get so much money. And I was defending the case. I was trying to make sure he didn't get money.
Right.
And I hated that. So when I saw an ad in my school's job bulletin from a plaintiff's lawyer that I'd seen speak, I was like, I got to get that job. That man was Jeff Roberts, and that man today is my partner, Jeff Roberts.
Wow.
But he hired me as a 3rd-year law clerk with no intention of ever making me his partner or his associate attorney. He just needed a law clerk. And I wasn't ever planning on being his partner or his attorney, but just organically it kind of grew together. And we started making some money together, and we tried cases together, and we became friends. We played sports together. And ultimately, I got to a place where I was bringing in big cases. He was too. And we just decided, hey, let's just do this together and let's partner up. So we changed our firm name in 2020 and added my name to it. We became Roberts Jeandron. But that's it. That's my journey. I haven't left. I've just kind of created my pathway and got an excellent opportunity with a solo practitioner who let me do everything. And
That's awesome.
So it worked out. I got really lucky.
That's a great story. So so tell me the kind of casework you guys do. What do you focus on?
Yeah. So we're a low volume firm. We don't advertise and don't get a lot of those cases off the billboards or anything like that. We tend to focus on wrongful death cases or very serious injury cases. I would consider anything that's an injury that requires a surgery to be a serious injury case.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, anything that's a surgery or above. So brain injuries, loss of limb, a loss of life, those are our focus areas. Now, we end up with small settlements all the time, and I'll tell you why. Insurance policy limits. It's a complete mess. California has these terrible insurance policy limits requirements where you can have $15,000 in insurance. So drunk driver can go out there and kill a family, and then the insurance company is like, well, here's our 1530 policy. And if their drunk driver is going to prison for 20 years and doesn't have any assets, well, that's kind of your only remedy. So it's just it's a shame that we have such terrible.
So what happens in that case? I mean, you can't break the policy, so you're limited by that.
Yeah, you can try to open up the policy, but you have to make a policy limits demand to the insurance company and give them an opportunity to screw it up. But on a big case where they know there's a death or a loss of limb or a brain injury, or you've got medical bills in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, they're not making those mistakes in those cases. They're paying those $15,000 policies like that. I mean, a lot of those cases, they'll send the check without requiring a release. They'll just send a check and say, take it, because they don't want to ever be on the hook for it. I mean, they're even doing that with $100,000 checks. They'll just send a check, like, take it. They want to just take the money because we know the damages are way worse.
Wow. So is there any recourse at all to get around that, or no?
Well, yeah, I mean, they make mistakes occasionally, and it can be technical mistakes. You'll require a certain number of conditions to take the policy limits. They'll maybe try to pay without fulfilling those requirements, and then they've arguably committed insurance bad faith. And then if they commit insurance bad faith and you get a judgment against their insured higher than their policy limit, then you can arguably get that assignment of rights from the insured and go pursue the insurance company for more. So those happen a lot on cases, but not like the serious cases. It's like a case where the person has a back injury, the insurance company just gambles on it because they're like, are you really going to get more than $1 million at trial on a back surgery case? Like, we'll just gamble on it. And it's more of a calculated risk for them than like just making an all-out mistake. But they also make mistakes. So yeah, there's just no remedy though. If you're hit by somebody who has no money, no assets, and low insurance, and there's no prospect of that person ever having money in the future, then yeah, you have this horrible harm and a terrible result. And I hate having those conversations. A lot of people don't understand that. And unfortunately, some clients actually blame the lawyer, and they're like, you have all these great results advertised. You get millions of dollars on these other cases. And in a way, I get it's unfair, but that's kind of the way it works sometimes. If you get hit by somebody who's driving the UPS truck, well, I can get whatever the value of your case is because UPS has layers and layers of insurance. And even if they didn't, they've got money they can pay from. So, but if you're hit by just some guy that's driving drunk, has no insurance, and has no assets, and is living paycheck to paycheck, maybe even taking payday loans and in debt, there's just no prospect of getting money out of that person.
Yeah, and
if they don't have money, you can't get the money out.
There's no pool of money. So, I mean, how often does that happen? I mean, does that also sort of dictate what type of cases you take too?
Yeah, it happens a lot, and it happens a lot. And it does dictate the type of cases you can take, because I'm not going to advise a client who, I'll give you an example. A client lost a foot in a motorcycle crash from just right about the ankle level, 25 years old.
Yeah. And
hit by a drunk driver that had $25,000 in coverage. And they just want to pay the $25,000. They offer it, and they offer it, and they offer it. The drunk driver ends up going to prison, has no prospects of making money. It was like his fourth DUI. And the guy had no job. I mean, just like cash under the table money and then going out and getting drunk and driving. That was it. So there's just this terrible conversation you have to have and on that case, we didn't even take an attorney fee. We just settled his lien and gave him whatever was left. Because it was such an adverse was such a bad result. There's nothing we could do though. It's a terrible conversation to have. I mean, what was your question? I don't remember your question.
Oh, no, I just wondering. I mean, it's unfortunate, but I'm saying like you as a lawyer, I mean, and you guys are contingency fees. I mean, I would think,
I know what I was going to say.
right? I mean, you're not going to.
We weren't going to take the case to trial. We weren't going to litigate it.
Yeah.
Because to litigate that
Sure.
case, we spend
It's going to cost you a lot of money.
$25,000 in case costs. And then he's going to get nothing.
Right.
So, I mean, you're going to say, here's a little bit today. And I know we could fight more. We could go get a judgment against that drunk driver. It's a piece of paper, though. The judgment is the piece of paper. It says, you owe me $5 million. Doesn't do anything, though. The guy doesn't have any money. It's a piece of paper that you can't collect on. So, the judgment's only as good as the pool of money you have to pursue. So you like to get that insurance money attached to a harm so you can give your client the best remedy. So I'll take on the case because I don't know what the insurance is when I'm signing it up. But then I have these difficult conversations with clients.
Yeah, I understand. So what is your practice consist of mainly? What kind of work?
So I start with the injury. That's what I say. I start with the injury. If you find out there's some catastrophic injury or a serious or death, then send it my way and I'll look at it and I'll find the liability. And if I can't find the liability, then I'll let you know. And I even say that for work comp cases. I don't do work comp, but in California, an injured employee has an exclusive right to pursue their employer through workers' compensation. You can't sue them for personal injury. So I'll even say, send me the work comp cases if it's a serious injury, because I'll look for other entities that might be at fault. For example, a lot of these construction sites where somebody is walking around and maybe somebody up top drops something down and it hits their head and they have a brain injury. So
catastrophic. You're looking for big catastrophic injuries.
Yes, but a lot of people are like, oh, he's working, so it's a work comp case, right? So that's not a personal injury case. Well, a lot of people make that mistake, but it may be that the person that dropped that brick down or whatever it was a subcontractor who had nothing to do with your employer, because there are a lot of different entities out there. Right. That's a personal injury case against the subcontractor who dropped that brick that has nothing to do with your employer, because you might have a general contractor that hires a painting company, electrical company, plumbing company. If the plumber drops something on the electrician's claim is against the plumber. That's personal injury. And the plumber against the plumber's employer, that's work comp. So you have these crossover claims. You should always be looking for those. So I just say catastrophic or death, send it to me. Let me look. If I find nothing, then I'll just send it out to a work comp lawyer.
Got it. And is that your whole practice, catastrophic injury, the firm?
Yeah. That's it. That's all we do.
Okay.
Personal injuries, wrongful death.
Got it. And how often do you get to go in front of a jury?
Probably about 2-3 times a year.
Okay.
So it's about our average. Pandemic was tough. We didn't have any case. The last trial was January 2020. I didn't get back in until I think September 2021. So almost a full 2 years of trials.
Okay.
Which was no fun because I love trials.
You like it. I can tell from your personality, you got a lot of energy. You like the trials, don't you?
I love it. That's when I feel most alive. All the work's done. Like getting ready for trials, not very fun.
Right.
Doing the depositions and preparing the outlines and going through all the medical records. But once you've done all the work and you stand up in court and you know your case, that's when the fun starts.
Right. It's like being an athlete, right? You don't want to practice, you just want to play the game.
Yeah, but you have to practice.
Right.
To be successful at the game.
Right.
You can't not practice and expect to win the game.
Right. So were you an athlete growing up? Were you an athlete?
I wasn't. I wish I could have been. I just wasn't good enough to be an athlete. I wasn't skilled. Okay. I tried to play baseball and I wanted to be the center fielder for the Angels. I wanted to basically be Mike Trout. And I got this, realization when I was cut from the high school baseball team that just wasn't going to work for me. and even though I tried so hard, I just wasn't that skilled. And I also wasn't that big. Like some of the guys were starting to get bulky and starting to hit those balls hard.
Yeah.
And I was still like, I could make contact, but I'm like grounded into the short style. That doesn't get you anything.
Hidden singles. Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, there comes a point in time when reality sets in and it's like, okay, I need to do something else. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they tell you as a kid, you can do anything you put your mind to. And I somewhat bought into that. I was like, I can just practice baseball and be a professional baseball player. And then I realized I can't do anything. I'm limited by skill a little bit.
That's
And
funny.
anyway, then I just started to focus more on academics, I guess. Became a lawyer.
Good deal. So tell me, when you get to go to trial, how do you prepare so you're going to win? What's your methodology? What do you do?
Um, I really just work a lot of long hours. Some of the trial lawyers I know that are really good, they can just read a document and know it, and they just remember things really well. I just outwork everybody. I was not the smartest person in my law school. I'm not the smartest lawyer, but I probably am the hardest working. So when I'm getting ready for trial, I'll be working every day, every night. Very rarely take breaks, and don't see my family very much. And just if I need to read a deposition 4 times, I will read it 4 times. If I need to make notes on it 4 times, I'll make notes on it 4 times. And then by the time I get to trial, I'm ready.
You're ready.
I wish I could be like those lawyers that just read it once and they got it, but I'm not there. I got to prepare. And then when I'm out of trial, I try to then balance more towards family and take time off and to just focus on maybe taking less time at the office, less time working. So I'm imbalanced when I'm in trial. I'm all trial, no family, and then I try to compensate for it when I'm out of trial to do more things with my family.
Yeah, that interesting approach. Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, I want to have a balanced life. I guess I have a balanced life, but it's balanced towards trial, in trial,
2 extremes.
Family. Yeah, 2 extremes.
Right.
Exactly.
That's interesting. So is this where you grew up in Orange County?
I grew up in Palm Springs, born and raised in the hot desert of Palm Springs. My dad was a police officer out of the Palm Springs Police Department for 37 years.
Wow.
And retired as the chief of police. So I grew up out in the hot desert and didn't really know that there were other nicer climates in the world until I got older, and I was like, why do we live in such a hot place? What can we do out here? And then I discovered the beach, and once I got to Newport Beach, I decided I got this close to the coast, I'm not going the other way. I'm not retreating.
Yeah, Newport Beach is a pretty nice place.
I'm trying to get closer to the water, not further away.
Right, closer.
I'm like 5 miles away right now. I need to get closer. Maybe like every couple of years, I'll get maybe a mile closer.
That's pretty funny. Okay, so and so how'd you make the decision? Bring me through sort of the journey here to become a lawyer. Like, how did that start?
Yeah, so before I went to law school, I was working at the district attorney's office in Riverside County, but I was not a lawyer. I was the spokesperson for the office, and I dealt with the media. And it was a great job. I really enjoyed it. But what pushed me to become a lawyer was I was fired from the DA's office. And if I wouldn't have gotten fired, I probably would have still been there today because I really enjoyed that job. I like dealing with the media. I like dealing with the high profile cases. And I just needed something to push me.
Why'd they fire you? Why'd they fire you?
That's a good question. Why'd they fire me? So I've always been a loyal person. So, I'm loyal to the people that are loyal to me. And, you take the glory of the victories, you take the consequences of the defeat. But my DA that I worked for, that I was loyal to, lost his election. And since I worked directly for him, the new DA came in and on the very first day fired me. So it was no surprise. I knew I was getting fired. But I said even before the election results came out, I'm loyal to this guy. I believe in him, and if that gets me a consequence, then fine, I'll take it. If that gets me all the glory of winning, then I'll take that too. So I got the consequence of getting fired, and went into. I was able to go to law school within like 2 weeks of getting fired. Since the election was like 6 months before the changing of the guard,
Yeah.
I had like 6 months to prepare. So I already applied to law school, and I knew that I was starting like 3 weeks after I was getting fired.
Oh, so you knew it was happening. You knew
Yeah,
it.
it was
Yeah.
perfect. So I was able to plan it. So I got fired. 3 weeks later, I was in law school. But working in that environment with the DAs, working with the victims who had their criminal cases, but victims' families who their loved one had been murdered, I liked helping those people. So I liked that whole aspect of helping people in the justice system. I just didn't really like being a government employee. And that was the thing that, as I was going to redefine myself, I wanted to do the same thing, helping those people who've been harmed, but in the private context where I'm not a government employee.
Yeah.
And where also my own efforts could result in more earning potential, because that doesn't happen in government. Work past five in government, which not a lot of people like to do, but I did it all the time. You don't get any more money. You don't get any more personal benefit from that. You just give. In my business now, any work I put in, I get benefits out.
Right.
So I like the private business, but also helping the same group of people.
Got it.
Kind of
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
So your firm so there's 3 attorneys, it looks like. You guys growing? You're growing the firm? What's your plans?
Yeah, we really should. We're looking, but it's an interesting job market right now. It's kind of hard to find people, the right pieces. And when you're small, I think it's harder because you're competing with the big firms, number one. And then also the job search for us is a lot more taxing because the big firms have an HR person that goes out and finds people. The small firms, like, I have to go look at resumes and interview people and do all myself. And I've got a busy practice going on at the same time. So it's like growing pains, I suppose. But yeah, we're definitely growing. We're going to be moving offices in a few months, and hopefully adding another attorney this year.
Oh, good. And again, strictly on the plaintiff PI side.
Yeah, that's
staying there. Okay, good. Excellent.
Yeah. Staying in the lane. Yeah, I'm just not at a place where I could be effective if I tried to do more than one area of the law. I try to pick one thing and do it well. If I dabbled, I just know I wouldn't be effective. And I don't want to get to a place where I'm ineffective. If I ever need to do another practice area, then I'll learn it and I'll learn it well. But I'm getting, I love this practice area of the law, and I've got plenty of cases in this area of law. So I'm just sticking with this. And there's still things I don't know in this area. I'm still learning every day. There's different complexities and idiosyncrasies of the law that I'm learning every day. So it's an ongoing process. And that's what I love about the law. I'm still learning. I'm only 9 years in, so plenty to learn.
You're just getting started.
Yeah. I've got the majority of my career ahead of me for sure.
So, all right, interesting. And do you guys do you do mock trials? Do you use focus groups? Any of those kind of tools in the practice?
Yeah, focus groups. We used to do like a mock trial, but I prefer focus groups, more of like just talking about the issues. And we used to do them all in person, but yeah, since the pandemic, we've done them all over Zoom, which is so much easier. But what's funny is, you kind of have professional focus groupers.
Yeah.
So I've had like the same person, even though we say, don't come to my focus group, don't come to this focus group if you've done one in the last 18 months. I still get the same person showing up every focus group. I don't know how they get through a screening process, but I'm like, don't even, we know each other, right? And they're like, yeah, I've done this before. Like, how does that happen? But focus groups are really good over Zoom. just testing the issues and seeing what jurors like, what they don't like. And for me, the biggest thing that I like about focus groups is I get to practice wadai, or practice talking to jurors about the case and about the issues. Because if the first time you're hearing a juror's response to an issue is in trial, and that response surprises you, you might not know how to respond or how to handle that. So you're going to see, like, here's the issue X. You're going to see how people respond to that. And I'm not going to be surprised when they respond that way in trial. I don't know how to handle it. That's the biggest thing I get in focus groups, is just seeing how other people react to issues. And it's
In the
made
voir
me
dire.
yeah, it's made me so much.
And what else? What else are you trying to learn?
Well, if I've got an issue like, alcohol consumption, do you think you're going to blame my client because of alcohol consumption on this particular whatever trip and fall or whatever it is? I want to know what they think about that. So bad facts, like how bad are they? Do you hate my client now that you found this out? Or you're like, okay, I can see that even though your client did something wrong, somebody else still did something wrong too. So just kind of evaluating that. I almost never ask about money, because you'll get wild results in focus groups about money. Like, who thinks this case is worth 10 million? They're like, oh, sure, yeah, we'll give 10 million. It's monopoly money. But it never plays out that way with jury trials. Focus groups are good with the issues. Getting people to talk about issues, they're not very good with money, in my experience.
Really interesting. Yeah. You think it's the way you pose the question, maybe?
I just don't think they care as much. There is something in the back of their minds where they know this is not real. And they're like, it's not that, nobody's having to pay this. So, and perhaps it's a little bit of suggestion to the attorneys, trying to convince ourselves that the case is worth more money by getting the focus group to say it's worth that much money. So what I've tried to do is we've actually tried to trick the focus group, and to say that, hey, we're going to present two sides, and whatever you write down, the parties have agreed will be the result in this case, like, so that they take it more seriously. Nobody's agreed to that, and we don't even tell them we're working on the plaintiff's side. I'll pose as the defense attorney. My partner will be the plaintiff's attorney. We'll both present evidence, and then say deliberate, and we'll watch their deliberations. So we've tried that to try and get more accurate results on the money, but I still don't think that works very well, because it's still,
Okay, that's interesting. So then how do you get to the money? Like, how do you land on a number that you're going to ask when you get in battle?
I usually start with my closing slides, and I can't really answer scientifically. It's just something I feel. I know the case, I know my client, and I start putting numbers down and doing math. And if I just feel that that's right, then that's what I go with. And if I feel like the ask is too high, then I don't go with it, because I never want to lose my authenticity, and I want to be genuine. So I'll genuinely ask for a lot of money, but I'm going to believe in it, and I'm not going to stretch myself and then go up there and feel like I'm being not genuine with them. I'm not going to go ask for 20 million if I really want them to give 5. I'm not going to do that, because then I'm going to know in my own mind, I'm not being honest with them. I got to be honest with them, and I just got to feel right about it. So there's no science to it. It's more of an art. I will tell you, though, the concept of anchoring is important.
I'm sorry? Say that again?
The concept of anchoring is important.
Yes.
So if I have medical bills,
Absolutely.
medical bills that are $1 million, I'm going to put those medical bills up there, and I'm going to feel very comfortable saying that I can ask for at least like.
Okay, so there's some science, there's some data.
Yeah, there's a little bit of science on the neuroscience and the anchoring. But a lot of the cases now, what we're seeing is, like, for mild traumatic brain injuries in particular, you don't have a lot of medical bills. There's not much you do for a mild traumatic brain injury. Maybe some speech therapy, some cognitive behavioral therapy. There's not a lot of things you do that cost money. So we're waiving medical bills on those a lot.
You
And
bring in an expert, but you bring an expert in, right, to talk about TBI and things like that, right?
and then you're just talking all in this world of how has this person's life changed and how much value do you place on a person's ability to think clearly and to speak clearly and to find the words they're looking for when they're looking for them. How much value do you place on that? And you have no anchors. That's a little bit harder to do. So because you don't want the anchors of just the speech therapy and the behavioral therapy, that's what, $10,000 or something.
Yeah, but if you're 30 years old and you got 30, 40 years of your working life left, I mean, you can come up with a number, right?
I'd come up with a big, huge number. Yeah. But I'd come up with that big, huge number by scrapping the bills because I wouldn't want that low anchor. Just get rid of that low anchor. Let's not talk about it. Let's not waste time on that. Let's talk about the human and the harms of this person. And then we'll do some math and talk about my argument's going to be this has huge value. Every day you can't live your life the way you want to live it because your mind's not processing things the same anymore. That has huge value for every hour of every day. I'm probably going to do a calculation like that to come up with a general damages number. And for a 30-year-old, it's going to be probably it's going to be 8 figures.
Oh yeah. Do you get there on like a whiteboard and actually do the math in front of people sometimes?
PowerPoint. My closings are always PowerPoint and the math is done already on it. So I just click through the slides.
And what's the impact of that when they see that? What happens?
Well, they say don't read the jurors, but I'm always watching to see if they write the numbers down. Writing the numbers down is a good sign. Not writing the numbers down is a bad sign. That's generally the way because they're not writing it down. They are not interested at all. And I don't need them all to write it down, but at least a few need to write it down. A few of the leaders. So that's what I'm looking for. Do you write the numbers? But I don't try to read the jurors. I'm pretty bad at reading the jurors. I'll tell you a story of a case I lost where after closing argument, I felt so passionate about the closing argument. I was feeling good about it. It was a good closing argument. One of the jurors actually started clapping after closing argument. Nobody claps in court, like clapping, like, oh my gosh, that performance. And I sat down and I thought, well, if I've got one juror clapping, I must have the others at least with me. Like that was the extreme result, but I must have others that are like with me. So jury deliberates and it's a quick deliberation. They're back in like 45 minutes and that's usually a bad sign. And as the jurors are walking out of the deliberation room back into the courtroom, my clapping juror that I know loved my closing argument is walking out and her face is just red. She's been crying. And I just like my heart sank because I knew that juror was for me and she was in there crying because the jury was going to defense the case. And they came out and sure enough, it was I think a 9-3 or a 10-2 defense verdict. So I had 2 or 3 jurors with me. But anyway, I just tell myself, don't read the jurors.
Interesting. Did you talk to him afterwards? Did you talk to that lead juror afterwards?
Yeah, I talked to her after. She was just so sad. She's like, I'm so sorry. I tried to convince them. They didn't want it. They thought your client was at fault. It was a trip and fall case. Those are tough cases because no matter how bad the defendant's actions were, some jurors just look at people and say, well, you should have seen it. You shouldn't have tripped. I wouldn't have tripped. And you get those mindsets in a few strong leaders in the jury. It's really hard to win those cases. But yeah, it was a good learning experience for me. And I try as much as I'm looking at the jurors and listening and trying to pick up on their body language. I'm also very cognizant of the fact that I can't read the jurors.
Got it. Excellent. Well, listen, on that point, let's close it down here. Just final thoughts you want to leave with the audience about your firm and the best way to connect with you.
So I'm on Instagram and I'm on TikTok. I'm lawyer.dad. So that's how you can find me.
Nice.
or,
I'm gonna have to check that out.
yeah, check out my stuff. I do silly videos or serious videos. So yeah, that's the way I would go there. Go to our link tree, all of our bios, my firm, Instagram, all of our social medias has a link tree. So you can go get to our website, contact us, you can text with us, you can chat with us. We're very accessible. And I see all those chats in my inbox. So if it's something that needs to get directly to me, I'll see it.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Good stuff. So just again, for everybody in the audience, Michael Jeandron with his own law firm, Roberts Jeandron in California. This is sponsored by EmotionTrac, and we are a legal tech platform that helps guys like you, litigators, prepare for mediation and trials with our digital insights platform. So thank you. It was really a lot of fun. Learned a lot.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
You bet.